My Journey, From Public Service to Political Evolution by Carrie Clendenning, and read by an automated voice. The Foundation, A Decade of Nonpartisan Service, 2010 to 2022. My political evolution began in an unexpected place, outside of politics entirely. For 10 years, I served as the legislative liaison for the Kanawha County Commission, registered as no party affiliation from 2010 to 2022. This wasn't a statement of apathy. It was a commitment to understanding how government actually serves people, unfiltered by partisan loyalty. During those years, I watched both parties from a unique vantage point. I saw which elected officials delivered for constituents and which ones just talked. I understood budgets, policy implementation, and the technical machinery of governance that most political volunteers never see. My political science education had already created an automatic distrust of political parties. I saw them as obstacles when trying to pass meaningful election laws. This decade of nonpartisan observation confirmed that instinct. The infrastructure void. Joining the Democratic Party in 2022, I made a decision that would further illuminate the crisis in American politics. When West Virginia's Republican supermajority passed an abortion ban criminalizing doctors and others who help women obtain abortions, I switched my registration to Democrat. This wasn't about partisan loyalty. It was simply the only available vehicle to oppose legislation I found morally abhorrent. What I found in the Kanawha County Democratic Executive Committee shocked me. The infrastructure was gone, extracted by national organizations since the early to mid-2000s. The VAN database, supposedly the nervous system of modern democratic organizing, was awful, limited to county boundaries, and full of outdated information. The 2021 redistricting had chopped legislative districts so badly that some lines ran through rooftops, making field organizing nearly impossible. The county committee was divided into 3 groups. Old-school Democrats trying to run things like 1968, political wannabes who didn't know what they didn't know, and energized young people who wanted to help but had no idea how. None had the tools or knowledge to rebuild what had been lost. Seeking knowledge. The Lincoln Project experience recognizing the infrastructure gap, I sought knowledge from an unexpected source. The Lincoln Project's The Union. Unlike Moms Rising, they were transparent from the start. 2 phone interviews, an application process, and a non-disclosure agreement that clearly explained FEC regulations. I knew exactly what I was contributing to, a sophisticated political operation connected to a presidential campaign. This wasn't exploitation, it was education. The Union demonstrated that even within existing political structures, organizations could choose transparency over deception. I learned high-level campaign strategy, modern field operations, and the technical skills needed to rebuild political infrastructure. Most importantly, I learned that cross-partisan collaboration based on competence was possible. The walls of leadership. Being shut out armed with technical knowledge from my redistricting work, strategic understanding from the Union, and innovative solutions like adapting Virginia's power packs for GOTV operations, I returned to the West Virginia Democratic Party ready to help rebuild. I was blocked at every turn. Despite having more practical knowledge about modern political operations than most of the leadership, I was labeled an outsider. Those clinging to positions in a hollowed-out structure saw my knowledge as a threat, not an asset. They would rather preside over decay than step aside for renewal. This rejection crystallized everything I'd learned. The problem wasn't just extraction by national organizations or infrastructure abandonment. It was active gatekeeping by those who benefited from dysfunction. Every person like me who gets blocked reinforces the narrative that nothing can be done in places like West Virginia. Creating the alternative. The political evolution project that rejection freed me to think bigger. If existing leadership wouldn't let competent people rebuild, then rebuilding had to happen outside their control. I transformed my anger into action, my disillusionment into education. I created comprehensive political education materials, the resources Moms Rising should have provided, the knowledge the Democratic Party hoarded, the skills the Union taught me. When I shared these materials with another hub leader, she called them gold and said I should publish them. But charging money would replicate the very exploitation I was fighting, so I made them freely available. I wrote my resignation letter from Moms Rising not just as a personal goodbye, but as a documented exposé of exploitation. I created the Political Evolution Project to share everything I'd learned about building authentic political power. The vision: 100% access to political education. My journey from nonpartisan public servant to exploited volunteer to blocked reformer to political educator taught me crucial lessons. Political parties have become obstacles to democratic participation rather than vehicles for it. Organizations across the political spectrum extract value from volunteers, while hoarding knowledge. Geographic extraction creates sacrifice zones where communities are drained of resources. The gatekeeping of political knowledge maintains systems of exploitation. Cross-partisan learning based on competence is more valuable than partisan loyalty. My goal now is simple but revolutionary: 100% access to political education. I want every person, regardless of location, party, or resources, to understand how political power actually works. My materials don't use partisan labels. They teach political theories and concepts that anyone can apply according to their own values. This isn't about converting people or building another organization that might become extractive. It's about democratizing the tools of political analysis and action. It's about proving that another way is possible, where knowledge is shared freely, where communities build their own power, where political evolution transcends partisan constraints. My journey continues, but now it's not just mine. Every person who learns from these materials and teaches others, every community that builds power outside traditional structures, every act of political education shared freely. All of this is part of the political evolution we desperately need. The infrastructure in West Virginia is still broken. The exploitation continues in organizations nationwide. The gatekeepers still hoard their positions. But something has changed. More people can see it now. And once you see the patterns of extraction and exploitation, you can't unsee them. You can only choose what to do with that sight. I chose to teach others to see. What will you choose?